Hi friends. So this is the 9th lecture on Silk Road by Middleton. So the last class we saw that how Satan said goodbye and his problems are over, sleeping problems over. He started taking Tibetan medicine and he was getting well, and as usual we will see do all these expressions, phrases and words, meanings and the pilgrimage trail. Pilgrimage trail means the path of the pilgrimage. Understand? The trail of the pilgrimage. Well trodden. Trodden, that means step to step. But this is well trodden means walked, people walk. That is, the trail of the pilgrimage was used by many people. That is well trodden. Chunks of ice means large pieces of ice. Clung to. Cling, clung, clung. Cling means stick to. For example, a baby clings to his mother. Clings to his mother. So this, babies cling to their mothers. Cavernous. Cavernous means like a cavern. Cavern means a cave. Cave, C-A-V-E. It is like a cave, you see. The cafe at the Darchen was cavernous. Means it was like a cave. Wreathed in sheets. Wreath, you know. See, for example, you make to honor or pay your respect to dead bodies, you place a wreath on it. So wreath means in a round way, folded in a round shape. That is wreath means something is, here it is plastic folded in a round shape. And then stuck up, wreath in place. There is a struck up a conversation, means started a conversation. Strike up a conversation. We started a conversation. Wind cheater means wind resistant dress. Dress that will resist or keep you safe from winds, strong winds, that is. So when we come to the pilgrimage trail, we say that every pilgrimage trail is well trodden. Because many people every year come to visit that place, a holy place. Chunks of ice. You can see that sometimes people carry chunks of ice for purpose of refrigeration. Cling to. Cling to is, babies cling to its mothers. Isn't it? Mothers. Cling to the mother. We cling to God. Because we are always thinking, we are under the providence of God. We are requesting the providence of God. Cavernous, cave-like. For they will find some buildings. Cavernous means like cave, like a cave. You are going. Wreathed in sheets, wreathed in. So you will find that in certain places, plastic, they make wreath. Sheets of plastic used for making wreath. Wreath like things. That is wreath. Stuck up my start. When we came first, you remember, when we met first, I came first in the class and I met you first. We started striking up a conversation. I asked, how are you? You asked me about my well-being. I asked more questions about you and so on. So that is striking up a conversation. And wind cheater means when you go to Himalayas, you have to wear wind cheater. Because there will be strong winds. You have to resist. The dress has to use the dress for resisting the wind. Now today you don't have many points looking at various options by Nick, whether he should go alone, because both his companions, Daniel and also Satan, they left him. And plus he has got a lot of sleeping problems and troubles. Then now we have a Tibetan scholar, he meets meeting Norbu, a Tibetan scholar working in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. So he meets, as a compensation for the loss of two of his friends, he gets a new friend, and that is normal. And let's begin. In my defense, it had not been easy with all my sleeping difficulties, but however I looked at it, I could only wait. So I said whether I should continue alone or not, whether I should go alone, because this is only the beginning now of the pilgrimage season and there are no people, that's the problem. So should I do it alone or not? He was examining or he was trying many options, many possibilities. But then he found that he is all alone. Then another point is that he had sleeping difficulties. The pilgrimage trail was well trodden, but I did not fancy doing it alone. It is well trodden and it was used by many people, but I do not think that I should do it alone because of the reasons I have already given. The Korah was seasonal because parts of the route were liable to blockage by snow. Why is that the Korah is seasonal? In bad weather, inclement weather reason, unfriendly weather, then what will happen? The path will be blocked by snow. It will be very difficult for people to go, and so it is seasonal. The Korah is seasonal. I had an idea whether or not the snow had cleared. I had no idea, he says. I had no idea whether he was sitting in a cafe. He does not know what is happening there. So what would happen in the pilgrimage trail, whether it will be blocked by snow or not, no idea. I had no idea whether or not the snow had cleared, but I was not encouraged by the chunks of dirty ice that still clung to the banks of the Urchin's brook. So he has to travel a bit. He was sitting there and trying these options, and he found that, it will be tough. First of all, there are no people, nobody else with him accompanying him. Secondly, there's a possibility that snow could create blockages. And he had no idea whether it is clear or not, whether the season has started. But when he looked outside, he saw the babbling brook. Yesterday we met that brook babbled. And then he saw chunks of ice clinging to the sides of the brook, the Darchen's brook. Then he felt that, there is a possibility that there may be ice on the way or snow on the way. And since Satan had left, I hadn't come across anyone in Darchen with enough English to answer even the most basic questions until that is I met Norman. So there was nobody. Satan left, Daniel left. Nobody to even answer basic questions in English. So, is there snow? Is there a blockage? Can I go? Can I go alone? These are basic questions. Even for that, there is nobody to answer. But by God's providence, so to say, we can say he had a stranger with whom he started friendship, and that was Norm. The cafe was small, dark, and cavernous. Cavernous means it was like a cavern, a cave with a long metal stove that ran down the middle of the cafe. Then the walls and ceilings were wreathed in sheets of multicolored plastic of the striped variety, broad blue, red and white, that is made into a stout. Stout means strong. A stout person means a strong person. Bhima was very stout. Then voluminous means huge. Voluminous means you can put big volume, so to say. Voluminous. The bag is voluminous. See, your school bags are voluminous these days. You carry almost all the textbooks with you, notebooks and this. Voluminous. Means it has got volume. Voluminous shaping bags sold over China and in many other countries of Asia as well as Europe. So that is, he says that plastic, the whole thing was covered with plastic. And of the striped variety with which they make stout voluminous bags which are being exported from, say, bought from China, and China exports that. As such, plastic must rate as one of the China's most successful exports along the Silk Road today. So he said that it is found in this cafe and it is found everywhere. People are using it. So that means it must be a successful trade as far as China is concerned. China was expert in making this and exporting this stout, voluminous plastic bags. The cafe had a single window beside which I had taken up position so that I could see the pages of my notebook. So he was carrying a notebook with him to jot down something, whatever he saw. I said, there's no light, it was dark, just cavernous, just like a cave. So there was a window and I took my position near that so that I can see the pages of my notebook. I had also brought a novel with me to help pass the time. For reading, I brought a novel also with me. I had also brought a novel with me. Notebook saw my book when he came in. He also, Notebook came into this same cafe, this cavernous cafe, this dark cafe, this cafe that is decorated with, if you want to say, voluminous plastic bags in the shape of wreath. And then he said he saw Notebook Gordon and he saw me. He came in and asked with a gesture, a sign gesture, if he could sit opposite me at my rickety table. Rickety means moving, tuck, that kind of sound, that is rickety table. If when the table moves, you get a sound like tuck, like this. So rickety table. Rickety is a onomatopoeic word. So you English, he inquired. After he had ordered tea. So he came in, he saw me, and I said, that means, may I sit here? Oh, okay, you sit. Then he said, cup of tea? Then I said, you English? Are you English? I told him I was. And we struck up a conversation. Strike up a conversation means we begin a conversation. Then you see strangers, what do you do? I said, oh, how are you? So I think I have seen you somewhere. In some way you start a conversation, that is called striking up a conversation. He struck up a conversation. And then he says, I didn't think, Nick says that, I didn't think that he was from those parts because he was wearing a wind cheater. Wind cheater means a dress that would resist the wind. And also he says, and a metal rimmed spectacles of Western style. So looking at this apparel, as Shakespeare says, the apparel oft proclaimeth the man. So your dress will proclaim who you are. Your dress will say who you are. So he says, when I saw the metal rimmed spectacles and the wind cheater, I found that he was not from this place. He must be from, because his dress was the Western style. He was Tibetan. He told me, but worked in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in the Institute of Ethnic Literature. I assumed he was on some sort of field work. So then I thought that he said I am working there in Beijing Social Institute attached to the Institute of Ethnic Literature. Then I thought I is the narrator. And who is the narrator? The narrator is Nick Middleton. Don't forget that, because say that I thought that he must be doing some field work, doing some research, for support of research. Yes and no, he said. He said yes and no. Why? Field work, yes. At the same time, that is not the only purpose for which I have come here. So yes and no, he said. I have come to do the column. Huh? My heart jumped. My heart jumped. That means I was extremely happy. I was waiting. Two things I wanted. A companion, also a companion who can understand English. He can speak, who can, I can ask some questions, basic questions. He will be able to answer. So he says, my heart jumped. It happens now. Sometimes when you meet your long lost friend after 20 years, your heart will jump. His heart will jump or not, that we don't know. That is up to him. Sometimes his heart will go down, but your heart will jump. That is up to that person. Yes, yes and no. My heart jumped. Norbu had been writing academic papers about the Kailash Kona. So he was actually an academic, and he was writing papers, means academic papers on for educational purposes on the Kailash Kona, which they both are going to do now, and its importance in various works of Buddhist literature for many years. So he had been a researcher, he had been writing about this, but he had no moral right to write because he had never done it. So he thought, I must have moral right in writing these academic papers and publishing them. And therefore, he thought that this time I will definitely do it. And that's the reason he came. So that is why he said yes and no. Yes, I can write academic papers on this. And no, because not only that, but also I want to do it as a moral support, he says. And he says, Buddhist literature for many years, he told me, but never actually done it himself. So he thought, this time I will do. I will do as I say. People say like that. Do as you say. So like that he said, I will definitely do it, I thought, and that's why I came. Today we don't have much to bother about, means very simple things. That he was trying his options. We found that it is difficult for 2 or 3 reasons. One, there will be possibility of snow. The passage may be blocked by snow. 2, he had sleeping troubles. And 3, he was not sure whether the snow has been cleared because he saw chunks of ice clinging to the sides of the brook which was running by the only cafe there, Darchan's cafe. And then he looked around and then he found that it is like a cavern and there is a stove and it is metal and then it runs, the parts of the stove runs up to the middle and it is dark and comparatively dirty. And also he found that the walls and the ceilings were decorated, inverted commas, decorated with voluminous and stout plastic bags made of plastic that is broad blue and striped. See, that probably these plastics were imported or the Chinese exported. This plastic bags, stout plastic, voluminous, means it could contain a large amount of materials. So sometimes maybe 20 kilos of rice plus 20 kilos of wheat plus 20 kilos of sugar and so on. So such huge bags. So it's in the shape of wreath. And then you could see them hanging here and there on the walls and on the ceiling and so on. So he assumes that the Chinese people, for them, this is a very successful trade. They are very successful in doing this and also exporting this to Tibet and other parts of Asia. And as he was thinking like this, he said that there was only one window and there's a little bit light there. So I sat there by the side of the window because I wanted to see the pages of my notebook. Not only that, I had taken a novel with me, so I thought of reading it for time pass. As I was sitting there, a gentleman came there. He asked him. He did not speak, but he just, can I also sit opposite this? He said yes, and he saw this title of the novel maybe, and they thought that he also knows English. He also wanted a companion who would know English, so they struck up a conversation. From there, he finds out that he's not of that place. He comes from, he's from Tibet, but he's a Tibetan, but he's working in Beijing as as we have already seen, this Beijing, the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and the authors saw that he was wearing metal rimmed spectacles and also a wind cheater. From there he understood that he was not of that place. And then they struck up a conversation. From the conversation he finds that he came there as visitor and also a researcher, and plus doing the Quora for himself, because he had been writing academic papers on the Quora without doing the Quora. So that is kind of, we can say it was a to have some practical experience. He came there, and Nick Middleton's heart jumped. What is jumped here means not that the heart came out. See, that is not literal, but he was very happy. Extremely happy for two reasons. One, he got a combined. Two, he could speak English. So that is what he was trying for. So I hope that is clear. You are enjoying my classes. Very good. So clear. My explanations are clear. If you have got any problem, you please send email to me, professorthomasmatthew@gmail.com. professorthomasmatthew@gmail.com. You can send emails to me for clarification, and also you can express your opinions about my class. I would very much welcome positive or negative. Bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy your life.